And Vinnies have just launched their winter appeal for this year. And this year they're actually focusing on a group that maybe you hadn't really thought was a big issue when it came to homelessness. That is older women who are facing homelessness in our region. Joining us right now to have a chat about this and why this particular group is one of the groups that they are looking at is John Feint. He's the president of St Vincent de Paul Society for Canberra and Goulburn, and he's our guest. Good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon, Georgia.
Can we look at this particular group, the over 55, I think, women? Why is this a particular concern at the moment?
Well, it's just we're observing increasing number of those in that cohort who are ringing our helpline for assistance. So we wanted to focus on them for our winter appeal. Around 70% of those that call us are women, and most are in that age, around the midlife and older, and a lot of those are either single mums or living by themselves, and a lot are at risk of homelessness or living in, under housing stress, you could say.
Did you say 70% of your calls are women?
Yeah.
Wow. Why is it women in particular, do you think, that are calling?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've been involved as a society volunteer for a couple of decades now, and it is the case that a lot of people we see are women. Maybe they're the ones that, a lot of women are left behind by themselves, living alone with their children, or they're the ones that, get the courage to call, I guess, because it does take courage to call us and to admit that you need help and support. But, the figure surprises me sometimes, but it's the case. And in your intro, you did mention that all the charities are observing this increase in demand. For us, it's about 30% increase in calls in the last 6 months, about the same amount, 30% increase in the value of what we need to provide to people. And it does reflect those cost of living pressures and the pressures on affordable housing. And also more people are coming to us now who we might not have seen in the past, who have a mortgage, and something's happened in their life, an illness, lost a job or whatever, and they're coming to us for help. These are people who are homeowners rather than people, for instance, living in public housing. So these are disturbing trends, I guess, and we're doing what we can to help, and we'd ask people in the community to be generous in their support so that we can get money out to those people. We're targeting women and their children, their families this year. And we just hope that you can support us.
And so when we talk about people under housing stress, and you've mentioned they're people with mortgage, and it's been coined as like the working poor, like people who might be working or not working. Is it mainly mortgages going up, or is it food going up? Are they telling you what the main thing that's got them to that point?
Well, I think there's a series or a group, or a cluster almost of things that are all happening at once. We see rises in utility costs, we see rises in the cost of food and fuel, and we see rises in the cost of rent or in mortgages for interest because of interest rates. So all those things combine to put added stress on people's budgets, and it just makes it a more difficult time. I guess we have lived for quite a period under lower interest rates, and it does take some adjustment. And it's also interesting to note that when JobSeeker was supplemented during COVID, and those supplements have been removed, but while they were supplemented, we saw fewer calls. But once those supplements left, we've got more calls again and increasing numbers. And, it's a very telling point that when I talk to people who are helped when they had the supplement, they could say, I could put a little bit away at the end of the fortnight, even $20, and to that was a great matter of pride that they could do that. But on current sort of social wages, that doesn't happen.
And that's important, isn't it? For if you have an emergency then, or a medical, or you need something further down the track, that they've got that ability as well. So how are you able to, I know you're asking us to help you, but how are you then able to assist those people, say, who've got the mortgage rates or the other things going on?
well, they can call our call centre, and that happens right across our region, not just in Canberra, but in southeast New South Wales, that we help. And our local conferences will get in touch and do what we can to make a difference. I guess we don't make prescriptions around how people are helped locally. We leave that up to the local conference, the local group of society members who go and visit people in their homes or meet with people where they prefer, to see what they need. That could be help with bills, it could be help with white goods, or it could be help with food or fuel, or things to help the kids get to school. Whatever the need is, we'll try and work on that. I guess we're aiming to build self-reliance and resilience in people, so we work together with the person we're helping to come up with strategies for the future. But the important thing is for people to know that we're there for people to talk to get to feedback, to refer people to areas where they can get other assistance, and a lot of our work is really just being that listening ear, so people can have someone else to share their issues with and problems, which helps them themselves work on how they might address some of those issues. But at the bottom line, we still need money to provide those basic necessities to people in an urgent and practical way.
And timely too. People could get in and do a little donation, and they can maybe, before the end of the tax year, there might be a little bit of extra incentive if people needed more. You mentioned
Indeed.
before, though, role of government in this as well. Are you pushing for the government to respond to what you're seeing and other charities are seeing?
Yeah, certainly. We just released nationally a media release around job seeker and seeking to have a look at that being increased in the budget. Other areas that we need, that are barriers for people are re-entering the workplace around childcare, and you'd know that it's not easy for people to access childcare and afford it, and it becomes an equation. Is it worth looking for work? When a lot of that, if you've got children, a lot of that is going to be taken up in paying for childcare. So it's always a sort of balancing act, and the closer you are to the margin, as it were, of survival, the harder that becomes. Yeah.
And you've also mentioned before single mums, and it's pretty hard if you're a single mum getting out to work if you've got kids that you need to get them into childcare, or you're working at night, because a lot of the child had to get assistance at that time as well. Yeah. It's been a real pleasure chatting to you. I hope people respond to the appeal. Thanks so much for your time.